I'm going to share with you the different camera gear and tools that I use to grow TikTok accounts. As growing TikTok accounts was a side hustle for me in medical school, I've experimented with different camera gear, editing software and tools to make the process as efficient as possible. In this video, I'll share my different filming and editing setups throughout the years. I'll answer the question, does gear matter? I'll give you some of the free online tools I use to make the process more efficient, and I'll share with you some paid content creation tools too. So let's get started with my filming and editing gear. So I wanted to share with you this slide to show you that I was somewhat resourceful when I first started out with content creation. So this was before TikTok, when I was making content mainly on YouTube. I didn't really have a tripod, so I used a cup and I cut a slit down the middle. And my camera was an iPad Pro, which I bought for medical school, not for content creation, because I had a phone, and the phone at the time was a Motorola, and the camera quality wasn't that great. So I decided to use my iPad Pro instead. And I even edited on my iPad Pro using iMovie. And the overall point of this slide is to let you know that you don't have to buy an expensive setup for you to start making content. You can start with whatever you have. And I started off with a cup and an iPad Pro, and it worked pretty all good. Now, moving on to my first TikTok setup, which I still actually use quite frequently, and that was the iPhone 11's front-facing camera most of the time, and a budget ring light. Now, I feel like whenever I use this setup, which I still use actually, the content feels more relatable. It feels like a human, you know? When you're consuming content and it just looks like someone just filmed it on their phone, it just feels like you're talking to someone else just like you, or you're listening to someone else just like you. And this was the setup that allowed me to grow a startup's TikTok to 34,000 followers while in medical school. So it's definitely doable in terms of getting views and growing your account. You don't need a fancy setup. And also, one thing great about the iPhones or phone setup is that it allows you to pump out a lot of content as well. It's a lot quicker to use your phone, and if you want to pump out a lot of content, phone is great. So that was setup number one, which I still use. Setup number two, now I had this while I was still using setup number one, which means that I still really like using just my phone because it was so much quicker and easy to use. But I use setup number two, which is this setup for client work sometimes. So this was the DDD3 Pro for the microphone, which is pretty all good. The Sigma 16mm f1.4, which is quite nice. And the Sony a6400. You know what? I actually got the setup right here. There we go. It's not that big. It's pretty good. And yeah, I use this for client work and it got the job done. It looks quite professional as well, which is a nice setup. The only thing with the a6400 is that it doesn't really have camera stabilization. So I really had to keep it still. And there are probably better options now in today's market. I think the ZV-E10 is pretty good. ZV-E10 Mark II maybe as well. So yeah, this was a great setup. And now I'm using to film right now is the A7C Mark II, the Sigma 2470 f2.8, the Amaran 60DS, which is the light right here, and the Lantern softbox is the thing I'm using to diffuse the light, and this is the Rode Pod Mic USB. This is a bit overkill. I bought this for YouTube. However, it does really make you look like an authority. So that's the big pro to having a nice YouTube setup. And if you have a team of editors or you have enough time on your hands, it just looks really clean, really professional, and that's why I use it. And I actually interchange between this setup and the iPhone 11 setup, depending on how I want to be perceived. Now, in terms of my editing gear, a lot of the times I just edit in app if I film on my phone. However, when I'm doing the high production quality stuff, I used back in the day this 16-inch MacBook Pro, which was refurbished, which got the job done. And I use Final Cut Pro. And the annoying thing with Final Cut Pro is that you have to manually type out the captions. And if you've ever tried this, it takes really long, which I didn't like. And then I upgraded to this current MacBook, which is the 14-inch MacBook Pro, and I use CapCut to auto-generate my captions, which is a game changer. It's so quick, so efficient. And if you want to learn how you can edit short form content, you can check out my video here. And yeah, it's a great setup. I really like this setup. Auto-generated captions changed the game, and you can access this app whether you have a Mac or a Windows PC. Now I'm going to answer the question, does gear matter? I think both the expensive setup and the phone has its pros and cons. However, if you only have a phone, I don't think that should be the thing that holds you back from making content. Like, it takes time to use a camera. You have to edit, you have to make it look nice, you have to get the lighting right. If you have a phone, it's easy. You know, you just go in front of a window, use a ring light, boom, get the job done. So I think both the expensive setup and the quick and dirty setup, the phone, gets the job done. However, if you only have a phone, you can lean into being more relatable and make a whole lot of content, since making content on your phone is so much quicker. So you can lean into that a lot more. Plus, when you're first starting out, you want to get a lot of volume in before you get quality. So phone is completely fine, especially if you're just starting out. Now let's go on to some free online tools. So this is Notion, and this is how I organize my scripts. So in this column, I have content ideas. So I write ideas down as I think of them. And then when I am ready to write scripts, I write the script and I drag it to this ready to film column. And then once I'm done filming and I've published it, I drag it to the done column. So it allows me to see what's in the pipeline. And if you want to learn how you can do this for yourself and you want the free template, check out this video here. I'll even link the free template in the description if you want that. But yeah, this video will explain how I organize it. Now let's go on to Snaptic. So if I ever need to download any TikTok on TikTok, I just use Snaptic. It allows me to download it without the watermark. Just paste the TikTok link and you can download it. Then you can transfer it to your phone if you need it on your phone using Google Drive or AirDrop. Linktree, I used Linktree when I was growing Money Hub's TikTok because I wanted to have multiple links. And I can't have multiple links in my bio. So I just have a Linktree where there are multiple links in the link in the bio, which is free. So Linktree was what I used for that. Pixels.com, free stock video, free stock images. Great tool. I've had no problems with Pixels.com. And it's a great tool if I need free stock videos or free stock images. Now, script.talkaudit.io, this is where I get my TikTok transcripts. If I want to get the transcript of my own video or someone else's video, I can paste the URL here and get the transcript. Then I can copy and paste this into ChatGPT and ask it to do whatever I need it to do. Next, 11 Labs. 11 Labs is where I get my AI voiceovers from. I highly recommend it. Check it out, and you get a certain amount of voiceovers for free, so really great. Webapp.talkbackup.com. You need to make an account for this, but what this allows you to do is put in whatever username you want, and then it sorts your videos out by whatever you want it to sort by. So I usually click this and I click by sort videos by most viewed. Then it allows me to see which videos have been most viewed, and that allows me to figure out what type of content I want to produce more of, because that would allow me to get more views. So webapp.talkbackup.com. You just need an account for this, sign in, but great website. Next, we have Google Sheets. Google Sheets was what I used to analyze TikTok. So what I did when I was growing Money Hub's TikTok, since this was a startup I was working for, I manually typed out the names of all the videos, the views, the likes, the like to view ratio, the comment to view ratio, the share to view ratio, the hooks, the style, the captions, and any other comments I could think of. And this really allowed me to analyze what worked well and what didn't, because I didn't want to spend too much time, and this was what the startup people like to see, numbers and proof. Now I made a simplified version for you, which is free for you to download, link in the description. And what this spreadsheet will allow you to do is you key in your views, your likes, your comments, your bookmarks, your shares, and it'll automatically calculate your engagement. And if it's over 8%, it'll highlight it for you. If the views are over 10,000 views, it'll highlight that automatically for you. It's just a simplified version of the tool that I used when I was growing Money Hub's TikTok. Another tool I use is vidIQ Vision for YouTube, which is a Chrome extension. And this allows me to, when I go onto the TikTok website on my computer, it tells me the engagement percentage, so I can eyeball what works, what doesn't work based on engagement. Engagement, for those of you that don't know, is the combination of shares, comments, likes, and bookmarks divided by the amount of views times by 100. So it's the percentage that actually interacted with your content. Now I'm going to give you a couple of paid content creation tools. So canva.com is great for pretty much everything. Like I use this for thumbnails. I use this to create like little logos or any thought of design work. I use canva.com. I pay for this. It's a bit pricey, and I think prices are going up, but I think it's worth it for now. And I use Envato Elements, and this is where I get a lot of animation tools for Final Cut Pro and also stock videos. And it's a bit pricey, but I still pay for it. So in summary, both high production quality and low production quality setups have their benefits, but don't let gear stop you from posting. If content is what you want to do, just start posting. Don't let it stop you. Just post with whatever gear you have. Free online tools that I use include Snaptic, Linktree, Pixels, Script.talk Audit, 11 Labs, webapp.talkbackup.com, Google Sheets, Paid online tools include Canva and Envato Elements. Well done for finishing part 22 of my free course on how to grow on TikTok. Click here for the next part and I'll see you soon.